welcome to episode 36, Flosstube number 5 of All the Stitches. My name is Colleen and I'm coming to you from the Lakes region of New Hampshire in the United States. Today's episode is mainly a Flosstube episode. At the end, I'll have a little knitting update, including my update for my Christmas sock yarn challenge for 2023. And I have a very brief quilting project I want to show you at the end. My first order of business is to thank you for checking out this channel. Thank you for returning viewers. And I really want to give a special thanks and a special shout out to 3 people. And number 1 is a longtime viewer and commenter whose name is Lisa. And I don't think Lisa has missed an episode yet, and she always comments, and I just have this pleasant dialogue with her. And Lisa, thank you very much. Since I posted Flosstube videos, I've been really surprised. I've said it before, but cross stitch has definitely taken over the world. So I put Flosstube in the title, and the next thing you know, I had so many more subscribers and views than I ever have. So thank you all those new Flosstube fans out there. I really appreciate it. And one of them particular is Faye. Faye, thank you so much for always watching, for your comments. I know she saw a recent one and then went back and watched several old ones, and always a nice comment, and I appreciate it so much, Faye. Faye said that she was binge watching right back to the beginning, and it has been so much fun back and forth with Faye. She's a cross stitcher and a multi-crafter too, and she said she's very inspired and wants to go back and do some of the things she used to do. That made my day. Thank you, Faye, so much. The other one is Gloria. She's a new follower who has also watched many of my videos, and that has been so much fun getting those comments from her. I can't tell you how much it means, because I can sit here and talk into my own phone, but it's not the same. Of course, it's not the same as sitting across from you. But when those comments come in, it makes my day, and it's like sitting across from you and stitching along with you. So thank you so much, and thank you to anybody who's followed me right along, and anybody new. So anyway, with that, let me tell you what I'm here for. I'm here because at last, I knew I'd be a while before I'd make another Flosstube, because I'm not a fast stitcher. So I do want to get things done and not just show you a little bit, every time. So it's been over a month, but I have a couple of major finishes, and I have some works in progress. I have, in knitting, I have some finishes, and like I said, that Christmas sock challenge update. And the quilting is, well, you'll see at the end what the quilting is all about. But I want to get started right away with cross stitch. I've shown you this one before, but now it's framed, and I really want to show it to you again. It's very heavy. Excuse the lights. This is I Am No Bird. It's a modern folk embroidery piece and a Jane Eyre quote, or quote from Jane Eyre. It's on 25 count Lugana, and I framed it myself. I ordered the frame, as I usually do, from Custom Frame Solutions. It's a really nice heavy frame. I laced it. You can't see it, but I put a backing on it. I laced it up, and it took me all afternoon to do that, but I watched so many videos on it. I finally got it, and takes a long time, and it's probably not perfect. It's not easy to, especially when you have a straight line all around the border, but it's pretty close. I think this is the corner that dips down a little bit, but you know what, it's not perfect, but it's done. So it is done. I just have to put a hanger on it, and I'm all set. So my next big finish was For the Love of Nature by Teresa Kogut. Once I finished that modern folk embroidery piece, I finally was able to focus on this. So obviously it's not framed, but here it is. Let you take a look at that. I love this. I love this design. Gosh, she has some, you know, her patterns, I look at them and I think, oh, that won't take too much. They're all much more intricate than I thought. I'll have to tell you a story. When I came around the border, you know how you always hold your breath and like, did I do the borders correctly? Will my corner match up? When I came around here, it was the last place I had to join in. And I said, oh no, I'm off. I'm off by 1 or 2 threads. I think 2 threads or 2 stitches. And I thought, oh no, and I took a look, just a quick look to see like if I could see where the mistake was. I really didn't want to pull all this out or all this out. But while I was doing it, I was watching a video from Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, and he was talking about an antique sampler and how the corner didn't match up because it may have been a half a stitch off or a stitch off. And he said, that's why you shouldn't worry about that when that happens, because all the antique samplers, most of them, they're off, you know, there might have been a half stitch missing or a half stitch along the way, and they almost never meet up in the corner. So you should never worry about that. And it was like a gift that came to me just as I was doing it. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's right. Why would I worry about that? So all I did in that corner was just, as long as the heart, this heart in the corner was, this heart in the corner was in the same place as this line in the bottom line. And so what if there's an extra hole there that that shouldn't be there? Who cares? Once again, better done than perfect. It's my friend Mary says that all the time, and Mary is so right. That was on Wichelt 16 count French country mocha. I went to the 16 count and I really liked it because as a dyed Ada, it's been washed, as one of you viewers explained to me. So it's 16 count, but it's actually smaller because it's been washed and dyed and washed. So I really liked it. It's done. I have my frame on order and I'm ready to go. My next finish is Cardinal Kin Plum Street Samplers pattern. I did the number 2, which is a darker version. See, this was more almost antiqued. This one is darker. I did that. I don't have it stuffed, but I am making it into a little pillow. And once I did it, I kind of wished I'd done the original with the cardinal. Really, cardinals are really brighter. The male cardinal is really a brighter plumage than the female, a brighter red. So I kind of wished I'd done it, but you know what? I'm happy with it. This was my Sunday stitch. And it took me way longer than a lot of Sundays, a lot more than I thought it would. There's a lot of stitching in those little birds and all the leaves. But I made it into I made a little backer for it. I'll stuff it and put some trim around it. But I'll do that later today. Those are my finishes. As I say, I don't work on 20, 30, 40 different cross-stitch projects. And I know people do that. And I love watching those floss tubes. And I'm just incredibly amazed that people can do that and keep them going. I can't do that. To me, that's very overwhelming and I won't enjoy that. So I've just had the Teresa Kogut one going, the Cardinal Kin on Sundays, and then on the 25th of every month, I put some work into this. And I've shown you this before, but this is my progress. This is from Waxing Moon Designs, and it is Search the Sky. So after an initial slow start, I really started to make progress on it. So I have all the lettering done, the Santa and the sleigh above. The house was done last month, and I'm looking forward. It has little, I can't find the pattern right now, but it has trees and sort of a little village here. And then it's all covered with white snowflakes. So I think I'll start really making progress on this one now. And I didn't like it. I don't know. I just didn't like it as well as I thought I would for the longest time. But now I do. I'm very happy with it. It's been fun. I felt like I needed a cleanser between the two bigger samplers I did and then what I'm going to start next. And I haven't quite decided yet what my big project, my focus project is going to be. So in the meantime, I thought I would start these. This is Bluebird. It's called Bluebird Sampler. It's a heart in hand chart. I did the Redbird sampler. I showed you that last time. Actually, in these weird little spots, makes this little vegetation kind of thing. You actually put beads in there. And I'll do that at the end. Anyway, so I'm working on Bluebird. Now this is only 2 days of work, so I think that's pretty good. I'll get these done quick. And then I have the Hummingbird, which is really pretty. That one's a green, sort of a sage green. Then there's a crow. I think I'll do the crow in the fall, but whatever. I had to sew some fabric strips around this because I don't know why. I do this all the time. I cut my fabric way too small, and then I can't get my Q-snap around it. It won't stay in the Q-snap. Don't ask me why. But anyway, this is fun. One color, and it's a lot of fun to do. One more to show you. I realize I have to come up with a new Sunday stitch since I finished the Cardinal Kin one. So what I decided to do was, again, I like to do something really quick and easy on a Sunday that's stress-free, especially if I'm working on a bigger project during the week. I like something a little easier to deal with. And I had this one from Luminous Fiber Arts called So Tweet. I went to my kitted pile of projects because I just thought it'd be easier to do than pick something new. And I found that I had already had a piece of Aida, a 16-count Aida, that's, I think it's Pewter is the name of the color. It's a very pale gray. And I had all the threads ready to go. So that should be very fun and easy to do. Did I show you my Bluebird sampler pattern? I'm not sure I did. Here's the pattern. That's probably what I'll do with it, make another little pillow like that. That is all for my Flosstube today. I'm going to go to a knitting segment now. If you want to hang around, great. You are welcome just to see what I'm doing and whether or not you're a knitter or a quilter. But if you want to sign off now, I want to thank you for watching this Flosstube number 5. I really appreciate your being here and coming back. Okay, here's my major knitting project was, I couldn't wear it. It's really hot today. It's all of a sudden, you know, we had snow just days ago and then now it's hot. But I couldn't put this on. It's the Highland Slipover. I think there's probably thread on it because there's thread everywhere. This is the Highland Slipover. I wonder if I can just sort of wear it. Not really. But see, it's I think it's just a nice, fun thing to throw over your, you know, blouse or a turtleneck and when it's chilly. But it's a garment that I'm really happy to have and I can't wait to wear next winter. I think I'll get a lot of use out of it. The yarn is an old Cascade 220 that I've had forever. You know, so it's nice. It's really nice to be able to use up an old yarn and actually knit something with it and not just have it in a box. Now my next series of finishes came from what I decided to do in I'm going to just look in an earlier episode. It was not a Flosstube episode. It was episode 33. I talked about a sock knit along. And what I found is I had so many Christmas theme sock yarns that I just wasn't getting to, and they're beautiful. So I challenged myself to knit them up this year. And I say knit them up. If I knit one or two, I would have been satisfied. But what's happened is, well, I'll show you. I've done more than one or two. I'll try to remember the yarns as I go along. And by the way, I should have said it earlier, details of anything I mention are in the description box below, okay? But this was a yarn from Freckled Whimsy. This was the first pair I got done. It's called Peppermint Mocha. Love this. I've talked about this, so I'm not going to go in detail. The second pair is Mustache Yarns Mismatched Sock yarn. See, it's mismatched. That was fun. The third pair, this is Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and the yarn is Holly and Pine. And guess what? There's a fourth pair just off the needles. I haven't blocked them, so they're a little chunky looking, messy looking. Look at this. I love this yarn, this color. I think this was the most beautiful yarn I've ever knit with. Also from Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and this is called Home for the Holidays. And I've just done plain vanilla socks, you know, with heel flap and gusset. 4 pair done already, and it's still April. I never would have planned to do a sock a month, but it appears that's what I'm doing. And so now that I realize I can do it, I am really, that's my goal. I want to make 12 socks this year in Christmas yarns. And by the way, I failed to mention at the beginning, this knit along is a very freewheeling and loose knit along. I'm hoping people join in. It is on Instagram. Use the hashtag Christmas Sock Along 2023. Go on Instagram, search out that hashtag, and you'll see not only mine, but a couple of other people have joined in, and still a couple of other people have said that they're going to be posting socks. So I'm hoping it will grow a little. I am having a ball. I am not a big fan of sock knitting. I really am not. I mean, I do it sort of because I always have a pair of socks on the needle, but it's not my go-to. But since I've been doing this, I have had so much fun because I set a goal for myself. And I find that maybe I need that. I didn't realize I needed that. And, you know, if I don't meet the goal, so what? But it's out there and it makes me want to take the next step. And also, let's face it, this stripe sock yarn, it just makes you move forward because it's so beautiful. You just want to get to the next stripe, right? So that has been my knitting. I knit at night. I do cross stitch for a couple hours during the day. And lately there's been so little time for my sewing and quilting. But I've found that, okay, this is the quilting section now, very short and brief. My quilting time has become almost nothing. And I am in a quilt guild and I enjoy the community of other quilters, and it's a very, very prolific group. But we decided we needed to start going. It's a very small group, and we decided we needed to get a raffle quilt going for next year, for 2024. We're a small group, our dues is low, and we don't have a quilt show. And so trying to fund a group, we pay for where we meet and whatever other little extras. We usually have one speaker a year. It's pretty much all we can do, but we need to still fund it. So we try to have a raffle quilt every year. So we're planning one for 2024, and I had this brilliant idea. I came upon a kit that I bought for a log cabin quilt. I bought this many years ago. It's all batiks, and it's from a company called So Batik. I went back to their website recently, and they don't have it online anymore. I mean, I bought it years ago. But I thought, this is probably not a quilt I'm ever going to get to. So I donated it to the Guild. And I told them I would be cutting out, I'll cut the strips. Because if you're a quilter, you realize that if you have many people cutting strips, they're all going to be slightly different sizes. So I have an AccuQuilt cutter, so one of those, it's a manual thing when you roll the fabric through, and so it cuts these perfect 1.5-inch strips. So I got that done, and then I realized the best way for many people to sew a log cabin square and keep it the same size, they're 7.5-inch blocks, is to cut the logs, the so-called, the horizontal pieces, the logs, cut them out to size before you sew. So it just makes for an more accurate block. I should show you what I'm talking about. Here is just one block. Okay, here's the log cabin block. So half of it is darker fabric. Half of it is this icy blue batik. And you start in the center and you sew this, then that, then that, then that, and that, all counterclockwise. These are 1.5 inches cut, so 1-inch strips sewn. So a lot of people sewing these, there had to be a lot of accuracy involved in order to make it all come together and fit together. So we had a little workshop that a few of us worked on the blocks. I did a sample, and this is how, I showed you one block. Here are 4 blocks together, and this is how the quilt is going to be set up, so that these 4 dark corners come together and form this other sort of secondary pattern in the middle. I really love it. And now I'm thinking, I did all this cutting. I was weeks cutting this quilt and putting them in packages for people so people could just take the pieces they need and sew. And it's worth it because I think it'll be a really nice quilt. But it was a lot of work in it. But I have to tell you, it got me so inspired to quilt again. I used to be a pretty prolific quilter. I mean, every day I'd be up here. I'd be sewing something, cutting something, planning something, whatever. And then, as you know, we got the puppy. Almost 2 years ago. He's 1 year and 10 months. And he's been a lot. He's been a lot of dog. And so I don't have as much time anymore. But I think I've had the fire lit inside me. I don't know, because this quilt is going to take a lot of work and a lot of sewing for each person who takes part. So I think I'll probably do a lot of log cabin quilts before I move on to something else. I had to show you that, even though it's not that exciting, just because it took up so much of my time over the last month. So I think that's it for today. I've shown you everything I've been up to the last month. I hope if you started out here today, I hope you're still with me. Until next time, and hopefully I'll probably have some smaller finishes next time for my next Flosstube, and I'll definitely have more socks. So stay tuned, and I hope, happy spring, by the way, and I hope all of your stitches bring joy.